Listen. You smell something?
On to your butt.
The battle of wits has begun.
Take your
Life,
sicking paws off me,
finds a way.
damn dirty ape!
Hello there.
This is Sparta!
You're a wizard.
Yes, they deserve this. I hope they burn in hell!
Take a big step back and literally
Fuck your own face!
Do or do not. There is no try.
Beetlejuice.
You ever dance with the devil in the bed?
I'm your huckleberry.
Beetlejuice.
Thinking what I'm thinking.
Hallelujah!
Aim for the bushes.
Holy shit!
That doesn't make sense.
Where's the
I
Tylenol?
believe the common denominator of the universe is not harmony, but chaos, hostility, and murder.
Most excellent. Righteous. So somebody went on a little trip. Actually, we both went on little trips.
Yeah, I just went on a farther little trip.
Yeah, mine was an hour and a half away for 2 weekends. Yours was a little more than an hour and a half.
Yeah, a little bit. We traveled about 2,000 nautical miles over the course of the past 7 days.
Hell yeah. Photos looked like you guys had a blast.
Yeah, we did. We sure did.
Did did customs check you for smuggling grapes with those little shorts you got?
Nope, and I didn't get the latex glove treatment neither. To my great disappointment.
Right, you wore the shorts on purpose waiting. Ma'am, those are not grapefruit, let me tell you. Awesome. Well, everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Kick. I'm Nick Zilla.
And I'm Mark Becker.
And Keith is at work, so he cannot be on because I got home late, and so we had to delay a little bit. So he's taking the sacrifice and not joining this one. So
Beep, boop, beep.
It's been about 2 weeks. You went on a cruise. I went to Disney and Universal, Halloween Horror Nights and all that over the last 2 weekends. So it was pretty cool. At Universal, we did all the haunted houses and all that. Like I had to check out this shirt with the Tar Man and Elvira.
Ah, nice. Yeah, we had Halloween on the ship.
Ooh, sweet.
They do it like all October, so a whole bunch of people dressed up in costumes on one of the nights, on the Halloween night, and went up to the Lido deck, the main deck up there with the pools and all that stuff, the open air deck, and had like a little dance party and little costume contest.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
There was a kid up there with an inflatable T-Rex.
There's always going to be one somewhere running around the ship.
The kid had moves too, man. The kid could dance. There was also another one that was like an inflatable Snoopy outfit, which
Nice.
is really cool. I think that one was an adult. They looked taller, so I think that was an adult that was in that one.
Sweet. I've seen those, and I've
a lot
seen
of great costumes though. They had a family did the entire Scooby-Doo gang, including the Mystery Machine.
Someone was the Mystery Machine?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mystery Machine. Yeah, they had like 2 sets of the Hocus Pocus sisters.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a pretty popular one this year.
Yeah, they had this one guy dressed up as the Mask, which was pretty legit. He had the whole yellow suit outfit and everything, and had his face painted up green. He ended up that guy ended up actually winning the adult singles costume contest. That was pretty cool.
Somebody stop me.
Yeah, there was a ton of really cool, really unique, and really fun costumes that they had up there.
That's awesome.
I took my astronaut costume, which I was going to wear on the podcast today, but I was like, nah, it's going to get too hot.
Nice. Yeah, heck yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's like my favorite part, man, like handing out candy and just looking at all the, like you'll see all the like main costumes, that people are going to dress up as, but then you get the the pretty creative ones, like the stuff you'd see at like Comic Cons where they get all into it, or just homemade ones. Like, you know, when Keith and I were younger, you know, Mom used to get those like kits where she would sew and create the Batman outfits and stuff. So it's cool seeing those costumes.
Yeah.
When I was at Universal, dude, I picked these up. Check this out. Frankenstein.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I got the Frankenstein.
You got Frankenstein deck. What else you got?
And I got the Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, there's
I like the artwork on those. Those are super neat.
Yeah, it's Tristan Eaton. He did a collab with the Hundreds. And out at Hollywood at the Universal Studios, he painted like 40-foot murals of these. But there's also Dracula, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And they have them in the decks. They're going to be hard to find because they like sold them once and then that was it. It was one shot and done. So there's a guy that has a whole set for like $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you go to Neon Grizzly, the internet comment etiquette store, you'll see that there's 4 shirts that they did for Halloween.
Oh yeah?
Spooky soy boy shirts.
Are they pretty good?
Yeah.
I'll have to go check them out.
Yeah, go check them out. They have a Frankenstein, they have a zombie, they have a vampire, and a mummy.
Sweet.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, actually Jen's watching The Mummy right now, the Brendan Fraser one. They just reopened the ride at Universal, so we've ridden it like 2 or 3 times this last weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just a fun ride, man. It's so cool. And then we went to Disney, Hollywood Studios, you know, because we wanted to go play in the Star Wars land again. And I ended up picking up this bad boy. Check this out from my display case.
Yeah, I saw those pictures that you posted up on your Facebook too of the Star Wars land. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. This thing's all metal, dude. This is heavy. But I just got the hilt. I didn't get it's got the spot to put the blade, like it's got the spot to put the blade in, but I just wanted the hilt because I got a display for it, and it's just gonna sit there like that. But I had to get Vader's, man. Everyone else was.
You can always get the blade later.
Yeah, they sell the blades. They're not that expensive. Actually, we met up there with Master Chief Corey from Xbox. He was with us, and he picked up the Darth Maul dual blades.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked. I had to go with the OG though. I had to go with the Vader. Although Kylo Ren's looked pretty badass. The black, like stainless steel, but it ain't as cool as Vader's.
Yeah.
So
you go there, you find the kyber crystal, and you cracked it.
Yeah.
You cracked the kyber crystal.
Yeah, there's a lot that went on in the news. I didn't get as much as I wanted to because I've just been so busy this last, since our last podcast. It's been 2 weeks, but we've all been having stuff going.
I have no idea what happened because I didn't have any internet on the high seas.
Well, you mean Carrier Pigeon didn't come tell you that Henry Cavill is back as Superman?
No, I did not get that Carrier Pigeon.
So apparently the Rock, being the Rock, is like one of the top like action movie stars now. Told Warner Brothers to quit being knuckleheads and to sit down and talk with Henry Cavill, and they did. And Cavill came out of that deal with a 3-movie picture or a 3-movie deal to be Superman. It is probably not going to be Man of Steel 2, 3, 4. It's not going to be the Snyderverse Superman. It's going to be this new iteration. But the fans and everyone, and him, he's been telling everyone, I want to play Superman until I'm too old to play Superman. right? Because, again, Henry Cavill's the king of the nerds, man. He's all about that life. So, yeah, he came out of that with a 3-movie deal.
Nice.
And and I'm sure lots of cameos. Because remember, all of his cameos have just been like his waist down, like neck down. And I believe they were saying that in Black Adam, you actually see him in there, which is like the first of all the stuff that's coming with Henry Cavill.
Okay, yeah, Black Adam just released on Friday, right?
Yeah, and have you seen the numbers for it yet?
No, I haven't. I was actually just about to jump over to look at that.
The box office there. So everyone was talking about how Black Adam's going to bomb and it's just not going to do good and all that. But it's got 67 million domestic and like 140 already, not including, I think, the end of Saturday or Sunday's numbers. That is nothing to sneeze at for an opening superhero movie. Especially one where everyone's like, who the hell is Black Adam?
Okay, yeah, so it looks like Friday daily was 26.7, Saturday was 23.7, and Sunday is 16.6.
Okay, so the 67 may be all three. Well, Sunday's not over with yet, so that's just cumulative then.
Yeah. That's just what it's showing right now on the dailies. But yeah, Sunday's not over. Though, I mean, from Friday to Saturday, it went down about 3 million.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, 140 million worldwide so far, so it looks like
it's made more internationally than domestically so far.
Yeah, which a lot of pictures do nowadays. People just aren't going to the movies still. Although, you know what's crazy? I passed 2 AMCs and they were completely full, and one Regal, and it was only like half the parking lot. Regal, I think, has got some issues going. Didn't we talk about how they were like planning on filing bankruptcy or something?
Yeah, I remember us talking about that.
We went to.
It doesn't say the budget for the film though, and that's really what's gonna.
Oh, it's gonna be high.
That's really what's gonna determine, you know, whether it turns out to be a box office hit or not.
Yeah, it's gonna be high. I mean, they've been doing and playing ads and showing trailers and talking about this for years, so it's going to be high. I'd say easily over 200. It's got to be. They've been talking too big about this movie. Unless The Rock took a pay cut on it because this is a passion project for him to play this character.
Just by Googling it says that it was about a $2 million budget.
200?
Or 200 million, sorry.
Yeah,
200 million.
That was going to be my guess. The advertising's everywhere, so that's not cheap.
Well, that's just production budget.
Yeah. That's not even including adding in the advertising.
Yeah, that's not including marketing and advertising, which is usually about the same as its production budget. So,
well, they went back for reshoots multiple times. They had to do that reshoot and bring Henry Cavill in, which probably wasn't cheap for them. So, yeah, I can imagine it's going to be up there. But I'm rooting for it, man. I want to see some more. I'd like to see more side DC, projects. I don't have to have constant Batman and Superman stories, even though those are the big ones. Like what James Gunn is doing with DC is what I like. I like him doing that side stuff, right? And actually, that was part of my news. Is that he got approved for another secret movie. We don't know what it is yet, but apparently James Gunn's knocking out another DC movie. And you know how he likes to do side. Everyone laughed at him when he did Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like, who the hell cares about that? And look at how big that is.
Yeah.
And then
it just goes to show that with a good director and good writing staff and good actors
and people that love what they're talking about.
You can take a franchise, you can take a property that's that's not very well known, and you can turn it into a hit.
James Gunn
as
is,
long as it can resonate with the audience.
yeah, and that's part of The Rock. What he was talking about was getting fans in the place of making decisions and helping making the movies versus just getting a corporate guy that's sitting in the back crunching numbers, right? Those guys don't know. James Gunn reads these comic books. If you go watch his Twitter when he talks about them, you can tell that he knows what he's talking about because he'll respond, oh, what about this comic series? And, oh, man, I've been really enjoying this one. So I'm excited, man. Let's give James Gunn all the money and let him keep making these cool. I mean, Peacemaker, like, come on, dude.
Yeah, Peacemaker was brilliant.
Since Deadpool, have I not laughed at someone's misfortune like that?
Yeah. So for that, looking at obviously Black Adam tops the weekend by like a long shot too, by like a huge margin. Like the second place is Ticket to Paradise that knew George Clooney. What's her name? Fucking
His little rom-com thing.
Julia Roberts. Yeah, a rom-com thing, and Smile in third place.
Yeah.
Halloween's in fourth place.
Which Halloween's free to stream if you've got Peacock. And then you've got I did see as we were walking past the movie theater today, the Universal Studios Theater, they also have Dracula, the Bram Stoker's the 30th anniversary one playing. The Keanu Reeves one and Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
That's back in the theater again, which is kind of cool. I like when they do that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they're gonna go on because I thought there was another big movie coming in the next couple weeks. We're getting into movie season, so you got Avatar coming up later this year. I thought there was another Marvel, unless it got pushed back to next year.
Let me see.
Yeah, what do we got on the upcoming?
Well, you got Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla coming out November 3rd.
That's the old 80s.
Yeah, it's a
early 90s
it's a
one.
re-release, yeah.
Yeah. I actually just watched that one the other day. There may not be anything big until the end of November.
There's nothing big until December.
Avatar.
I'm not seeing anything really in November.
Okay. Avatar's, I mean, everyone's going to probably clear their slates away from Avatar.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to compete with Avatar because you will get fucking destroyed.
It's a James Cameron. Come on. He don't put movies out too often. And when he does, they always hit the top of the all-time selling charts. So don't fuck with the Cameron.
Yeah, nobody's going to want to compete with that.
No. Hey, did you see that Flash 2 already has a completed screenplay?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so Ezra Miller's Flash.
Oh, right, Wakanda Forever.
Oh, yeah. I knew there was another
Yeah,
Marvel.
November 11th. November 11th is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
That'll be big. The first one made big numbers, and I mean, it's got freaking Namor, man, the first mutant in there. That's I mean, I'm not the hugest of the Black Panther fans, but I really want to go see Namor.
Namor is a big classic Marvel character that's
first mutant in comic books.
Very underutilized.
Oh, I know.
Even in the Marvel universe, Namor is very underutilized.
And he's big.
He's the king of Atlantis.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. They dropped that new trailer where it showed his wings fluttering, and I'm like, oh, they're going for it, man. That gives me hope for when we start getting into more mutants.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
back to the Flash 2 screenplay.
So Flash originally, remember, was supposed to come out in 2019, 2020. and it got delayed, and then it's constantly been delayed in reshoots all the way through. So it's really no surprise that they have a Flash 2 completed script ready to go, because it was supposed to be a trilogy.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
And considering that the Flash movie right now is still getting like the highest marks, like topping out over Dark Knight and all these other like highly rated DC movies. So apparently
Do we
in
have a release date for it yet?
beginning of next year. I think it got pushed to March. I don't remember. It got delayed because they went back in and did more reshoots with Ben Affleck and Ezra Miller. Ezra's
right. Yeah, I remember we talked about them doing reshoots.
Yeah, Ezra's expected to put in a not guilty plea to one of the felony charges. The one of the burglary where you're stealing stuff, I guess, breaking into a house and stealing things. If he's found guilty on that one, that's like a 20-year jail sentence. So, I mean, being Hollywood and him being, or they being that rich, and Warner Brothers saying, hey, wait a minute, we can't let him go to jail. I'm sure the Hollywood lawyers will step in, but yeah, that's the only one that looks like he's really fighting is that one.
And it would probably be pretty difficult to prove the burglary unless they had, video evidence.
Yeah.
That clear video evidence of Ezra's face and all this shit and identifying, things about Ezra, because otherwise, I mean,
unfortunately,
even DNA evidence and stuff like that can be unreliable. If Ezra Miller had ever visited that place before,
and I think it was like someone down the street from his like mother's home where he's at or something. Like it was. There was something about it that was off. So, that's the only one that he's really fighting. It looks like is that one. The others, he's like, well, I mentally am in a bad place. Yeah. I'm fucking stoned and drunk. Like, I needed help, and they're getting the help they need right now. So, that's the big thing is get them the mental health. Don't turn them into the Joker.
Well, we hope that, exactly. Hope that that they do get the mental health that they need, and that.
And if Flash is doing this good on all this, pre-screening, then let's get them some help so we can get back out there and start working again. Get this Flash, because this is supposed to be the thing that takes us into the new series away from the Snyder and into the new.
Yeah. Let's get them some anger management classes and shit.
Yeah.
So that seems to be...
Don't choke people when cameras are rolling.
That seems to be the biggest thing for Ezra Miller is, anger issues. Which, I can understand that from having dealt with that type of shit before, too.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not uncommon, especially in Hollywood, when they're... all the pressure, all the money, all the fans, you've seen Christian Bale, you've seen so many people snap. It's just they have to know when to de-escalate and not go past that point. And Ezra did not stop and still aggressively attacking people. But we've talked about that several times. Did you see, so you're the one who told me about Robbie Coltrane, right? I didn't even know until you texted, which was really a gut punch because we were literally in the Harry Potter park.
We're in the Wizarding World that morning.
We were literally in the park when you said that, in the line to go ride Hagrid's ride when you said that. And so we're like, what? And so what was crazy is that when we were on his ride, there's a part where you come around the track and there's a giant life-size animatronic of Hagrid looking like, Robbie Coltrane there. And Universal had already put a bouquet of like tulips at his feet on the ride. And like you could like people were like, oh, like already,
Oh,
man. It was crazy.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so it's that hit, and they actually released like what happened. He had multiple like organ failure. He had sepsis, a heart blockage, and lower respiratory infection. So he just sounds like he just wasn't very healthy. He just had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think he battled with weight. I know he was a bigger guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he was a bigger dude, a little older. And I believe he had even talked about like his diet, like what he ate, and it's a lot of that British food is not very healthy for what they eat. A lot of high cholesterol stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's super sad because, for one, Harry Potter, that's probably the biggest thing he'll be known for. I remember him from James Bond, in many other roles that he's been in, I've seen, but Hagrid will always be like the top one. You're a wizard, Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's who the role that, that they say we're born to play. And that was his big role.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But unfortunately, he's not the only legend that we lost. The week before, we lost Angela Lansbury.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, dude. Murder, She Wrote,
Dang.
Bed Knobs and Broomstick.
I didn't even know that Angela Lansbury was still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. She was 96.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Murder, She Wrote.
Yep. Murder, She Wrote's actually trending right now on like Hulu and Netflix and stuff. You know how every time somebody passes away, people go research who they are and go look at the shows. And Murder, She Wrote was a great crime thriller. But she, like most kids, probably won't recognize the face, but the voice. She played Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast. Like all of them, all the little cartoons, the movies, the video games. Like she was Mrs. Potts. My big thing that I remember her from was Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. A lot of people don't know about it, but she's babysitting these little kids, and they're on this bed that's got the bed knobs, and she goes through these different like cartoon worlds, and it's like a Roger Rabbit. They're animated like cartoons that she's in those worlds. It's old.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Old movie, really old. Most people haven't, but that's where I remember her from. And she was in the original Death on the Nile that Wonder Woman Gal Gadot just remade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's been acting since 1944. Yeah. Just so people know, like, her and, like, her whole life.
She's been in it a long damn time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a sad one, man. We lost two big people.
Yeah, I didn't hear about Angela Lansbury. Yeah, so rest in peace, Angela. Rest in peace, Robbie.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll go down in history. I mean,
I mean, Harry Potter is one of the biggest franchises
ever
created.
Ever. Like I don't know how long it would take. I mean, there's no interest whatsoever even on already like trying to reboot or redo any of those movies because they still sell billions and billions of dollars a year of the original. Like it could be 20, 30 years until we get another retelling of that story, right? So I mean, if you're going to be in a franchise, you be in that franchise because you will literally make checks the rest of your life. Like that. Oh yeah. That's the one to be in, and Murder, She Wrote was on for so long, man. Like forever. I remember you could go on like it was like TNT or TBS like late at night, and there was probably Murder, She Wrote or MacGyver or Stargate or Las Vegas playing. Like it was always like one of those shows was always on late at night. So you just remember like she typing on the typewriter, and she takes the paper and she throws it, and it goes up in the air, and then it comes down. She was a crime author or something, and she would go out and she'd write crime books, and she'd go out and like solve the crimes and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting, Every once in a while I would watch an episode, like if I was up late
Yeah.
and an episode came on, yeah, I'd watch it. It was an interesting show.
I mean, you got this like 70-year-old lady like hunting down murderers and crimes.
Yeah. It's kind of like Matlock too.
Like
Matlock was kind of the same way.
Exactly.
Like
it nowadays, that show is probably on syndication in like nursing homes and stuff, like nonstop.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because kids today aren't going to know, so the stations aren't going to pay to put them on air anymore. So it's all going to be sitting on that type of stuff.
So, just so that people know, like, the worth of Harry Potter franchise, on books alone, it's estimated to be around, book sales estimated to be around 7.7 billion.
Jesus Christ. Just the books.
That's just the books. That's not even the movies and all the other ancillary markets. That's not the merchandise. That's just book sales.
The Slytherin shirts, the Hufflepuff shirts, the wands, the robes, the caps, the ties, the toys, I mean, good Lord, dude. You walk into Universal Studios, nothing else should even exist in there, because when you walk in the front gate on early access, everyone goes straight to Diagon Alley. Everybody. Very rarely do you ever get anyone who does not go to Diagon Alley right off the bat. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Trust me, if they didn't have Harry Potter, which they almost did not get Harry Potter. I remember watching a documentary on the story. The only reason they really got it is because of Dr. Seuss's widow. So Dr. Seuss had sold, and the widow had signed an agreement with Steven Spielberg, right? Because Steven Spielberg is one who like has big control over this Universal Studios. Yeah, that's the only reason E.T.'s still there. So they had this big agreement. They built the Dr. Seuss land, and it was so accurate and so good that Dr. Seuss's widow apparently met J.K. Rowling and said, look, walk with me through the park. Let's look at the love and detail that they showed to explain the Dr. Seuss world, and let me show you how well they'll do with your stuff, right? Because Warner Brothers owns the movie rights.
Yeah.
And so they went in and they did this whole tour of Dr. Seuss, and J.K. Rowling agreed. She said, okay, I think you guys would be the park to do this for, to do it. And they axed the Jaws ride. They got rid of Jaws to build Diagon Alley, and they built Hogsmeade at the other park, the Islands of Adventure. And I mean, now I couldn't even imagine how much money that park pulls in a day in just Harry Potter merchandise. Millions. It's got to be.
Yeah.
In just Harry Potter alone. Nothing else. So yeah, I would love it. It's got to be like a $50 billion, in sales.
I'm seeing that the films made roughly $9 billion.
Yeah.
So they're estimating the worth of it being the total worth. Let's see.
Because the DVDs still sell. They keep coming out with new box sets. They just came out
they still come out with that.
They just released 2 years ago. Best Buy had that 4K set of all of them on 4K Blu-ray. It's crazy. They keep dropping those things, and people go out and rebuy them because it's got a new cover. It's new Harry Potter, new bonus features. As you're looking that up, HBO did that special for the anniversary. For the HBO Max app, and that was like one of the top rated things. They did a trivia show, like a game show, and then they brought all the actors back to talk about Harry Potter, like the 20 years later or whatever. And that was great. They talked about all the stories and all the stuff and how the kids grew up and how they all got the roles, and it's so big, man.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. It's again, it's difficult to calculate from all the different
Yeah.
markets and all the different revenue streams. But I mean, you got to look at it.
Start adding it up.
7.7 billion alone for the
Well,
book sales, and then 9 billion alone for the film sales.
That's the 17 billion almost. You know, if you just round up to 18, that's 17 billion just in the movie sales and book sales. Now
Right.
think one movie costs what, $10, $15 on DVD if you go buy a DVD. The books cost 10, 15, 20 bucks. Now think about the robes, the shirts, the $70 wands, the cups,
Yep.
Harry Potter, everything. I mean, it's oof. I gotta say,
Look, it may be very unlikely that J.K. Rowling gets any money off of the merchandise sales. Most likely, that's like WB that's getting that. She may get a little something, but from what it showed on like the books, if she was making like the industry standard of 15% for book sales, and she was basically making about $1 for every book sold.
And I know she has the books. She gets royalties off the movies.
Right, yeah.
She has the play, the Cursed Child or whatever that she co-wrote.
That doesn't include Fantastic Beasts too. So Fantastic Beasts,
and so
those movies also whatever they've made.
The Fantastic Beasts movies, like she wrote the scripts for, so she'll be getting cuts for the scripts and the royalty rights, right? She'll get to double dip that. And in the video game that's coming out in January, which is a massive open world Harry Potter game that Jen's super excited for.
On top of the Lego Harry Potter.
So you got that franchise, plus the movie game franchise.
There's websites also that monetizes, like the Wizarding World website, stuff like that.
So where you can be members, paid members.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's probably worth more than like DC Comics as a whole, like Harry Potter is. Actually, I'm probably pretty sure it is. The only one who would come close to toppling that would be just Batman alone. You know.
Yeah. I'd say probably, yeah.
Think about it. That's more than what Disney paid to buy Star Wars, dude. Just in books and movies. They paid, what, $20 billion for Star Wars?
Yeah.
And Harry Potter's almost $20 billion just for the books and that alone. I mean, it's huge. Huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Financial Talk of you should have invested in J.K. Rowling back then.
Stupid.
Not now. You know, because you don't want to do it now. She's getting lit up all over the place. But back then, 20 years ago.
But she's going to be a canceled billionaire, so...
she's drying her tears with $100 bills.
Canceling J.K. Rowling really even do anything at this point?
She'll keep writing her stories. People will keep buying them.
People still keep buying them. And even if she rests on her laurels and doesn't buy any more books or write any more films, she's still a billionaire.
Yeah, she sleeps on a mattress of $100 bills and dries her tears with them. I mean, it's
you can cancel her all she wants for whatever you disagree with her.
Yeah, I watched.
But, some of that shit that she said, pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Again, celebrities should not be getting into the political state, especially if you want money and fans. Her, on the other hand, is kind of too big to cancel. You can cut her out, but again, she still owns the property that you love. So, and what's crazy is I watched a documentary on her, like a movie of how she created this world and how she wrote it. And I mean, it was like she was just writing in a journal type thing and turned it in, and all of a sudden, like, people were turning it down and all that. It's crazy. Crazy how magical little things click or fall into place to make the things come in that are so big.
Well, you have to hear no.
Exactly.
You have to be willing to hear no a lot, before you start hearing the yeses.
And then once it turns into the world of Harry Potter, and the first guy that told you no, his boss is looking over his shoulder saying,
Shit.
You passed on that?
Yeah. It's like that Blockbuster passing on Netflix thing.
Exactly.
It's fucked up.
Let's see. When you guys were out on the boat or anything, did you guys get to watch any movies or anything in the last 2 weeks?
I did get to watch some movies. They did have some on-demand movies there on the TV system. I didn't watch anything new, but I had seen a couple movies that one movie in particular that I'd really been wanting to see for a while, and I was finally able to watch it because they offered it up on the on-demand station there. It was Jojo Rabbit.
Oh my
like
god, dude!
Movie.
You haven't seen that yet?
No, I didn't. I hadn't seen Jojo Rabbit. That was such a good movie.
It's in my Vudu, dude. Like Jen and I like watched that off of one of those like streaming apps where you can just watch a movie. Yeah. And we instantly went to Vudu and bought it because it was that fucking good, dude.
Yeah, it is a really good movie. I mean, it is great satire.
Oh my god, that movie! Yeah, dude.
First of all, like it's funny too because Taika Waititi plays fucking Hitler.
He didn't want to originally because not that he was like opposed to the character, but he was directing it, he wrote it, like he was like I don't want to play. Yeah. But dude, when he's like, "Oh, me and my buddies, we're gonna go have a party and we're gonna eat unicorn," and shit like that, like,
yeah,
it was such a good like the character like growth and arc throughout, and the way they did it was it was very fucking dark. Like you saw people hanging and shit, but then at the same time, it was like.
It's black comedy.
Yes,
right?
It was
very dark comedy.
It's like What We Do in the Shadows and all the other Taika Waititi things. Like it just, there was a lot of darkness to it, but you could see the light on the other side of what he was doing, and it just the comedy parts, like at the beginning where he blows himself up, like, and then wow, what's his name? Sam Rockwell, dude.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell's character was really good.
Yes.
Really, really good. He's funny as shit, but also at the same time you learn later on, that guy's like actually like a good guy,
Like when he allows him to like get out, he's like, "Get out of here, beggar." Like, go.
Yeah. So I don't want to give up any spoilers on that, but
that movie's like
Sam Rockwell's
2 or 3 years
character
old, man.
turns out to be a good character. He turns out to have a good character arc because from in the beginning his character was like on the front lines, fought for Nazi Germany and all this stuff, and he'd gotten injured and couldn't serve on the front lines, so instead he has to basically teach Aryan youth on like how to basically how to be a Nazi.
It was like the next generation. Yeah, the next generation.
Right, training the next generation of
dude, him and
soldiers.
Was it Rebel Wilson?
Rebel Wilson, yeah. Actually, I honestly, Rebel Wilson's kind of hit or miss to me. But I think that she did very well in this film. She wasn't like crazy over the top in this film.
Yes, she did not. She did not demand the screen when she was on it. She played an extra character and maintained that extra character.
Yeah, and she did very well. She did very well as that character.
But damn,
very well acted overall.
Scarlett Johansson. What's that guy's name? The SS guy. The like 6'6" dude.
The Gestapo guy, yeah.
Oh my god, dude. He was in that movie 46.
Off the top of my head, hold on. Thomasin McKenzie, also the one.
Yeah, he was in there.
No, she was the actress.
Well, she was the Jew.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Stephen Merchant.
Yes.
Stephen Merchant.
Yes. Oh my god, dude. His thing was hilarious.
Yeah.
I like when he's creating. So you don't have to worry about spoilers. This movie came out like 3 years ago. If you haven't seen this movie, don't be a mark. Go watch the movie because holy shit, is this movie good? When when he finds the girl in the cabinet or whatever in the closet, and he's drawing the book, and they're drawing like Jews with like the fangs and the tails. And he's like, "What does your tail look like? Do you breathe fire out of your nose or your mouth?" Like it was such a good movie, man. It really was. Like you have to see it.
It was a great movie.
It was, and like I said,
and a good character arc overall for JoJo, for your main character there.
It has a full growth.
Going from this, all in fucking card carrying fucking Nazi supporter to kind of questioning, some of the things that the Nazis fucking told them about the Jews and all this stuff, and then essentially falling in love with Elsa.
Yeah,
by the end of the movie and everything.
When he finds out she has like a boyfriend or whatever, and he's getting all jealous.
Yeah, so he writes that breakup letter.
Oh, dude, but yeah, at the beginning, he's like, "I can't wait to be a Nazi." Like, yeah, and he's daydreaming about Hitler, and then as he goes through that whole
well, that's the thing. Like Hitler in this movie is like his fucking
imaginary friend. Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, let's go, Hitler." Yeah, and then, as he grows up, he realizes, oh, wait, they're doing bad things. And then you realize that, like, Scarlett Johansson's character and her role she played.
Right, Scarlett Johansson's character was, essentially hiding Jews from the Nazis.
Helping smuggle them out as she worked for the, like, intelligence office or whatever.
And you find out later that so was his father, who was sent to the front lines, to fight for the Nazis, but undermining them all the while by helping smuggle.
Yeah, and she kept trying to tell him, like, hey, she would try to give little lessons because he was so gung-ho about being a Nazi. So it was good. Great movie. I mean, and by the end, he sees the downfall of them when the Americans come in, and he realizes, even Sam Rockwell's character was like, you need to go. Like, you cannot be a part of us. Like, we are not good. We are not good people.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. And that's where, Sam Rockwell sacrifices himself and, starts screaming at him while as in that little POW camp area.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why JoJo, identified with the Nazis so much was because his dad,
He saw him in the uniform and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. His dad went out to fight for the Nazis and all this stuff, but he didn't know the other layer to that. He didn't know that, his father was undermining
his friend, his little friend. He's like, "Oh, it's not a good day to be a Nazi, JoJo."
Yeah.
As he's carrying like the rocket launchers and stuff, the Panzerschmitts.
Yeah. I think Alfie Allen was also really good as Sam Rockwell's like little supporting character thing there. That little fucking very like homoerotic thing that they had going on. It was pretty fucking funny.
It was a good movie. Go watch it, people, because holy shit. There's so much more that we could talk about Jojo Rabbit for another hour.
Yeah, there's a ton of subtext in that movie.
Yeah, like I said, Jen doesn't usually say go buy that movie right away, like so she can watch it again. Like that doesn't happen too often. That one was so good, like we bought it and she was like immediately like calling Liz and she's like, you gotta watch this movie. I did watch on Disney Plus. They dropped the Werewolf by Night special, the Halloween special.
Oh, okay.
It's like an hour long. It's black and white. Like they make it, like the old Universal monster movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Granted, they did that so they could keep it not rated R because of the amount of blood that was in this. This is a very brutal, not TV mature special. Like everyone thought that this was going to be a mature show. Because they're straight up like swords. Like for a Disney show, they've got swords like cutting people's throats open and like impaling people through the heads and stuff. Like not what you would see on a Disney Channel show and not what you would expect to be on a Disney show. But they did not hold back. It's got Man-Thing in it, which was freaking awesome. But the whole
because I know Werewolf by Night is a Marvel property, a Marvel Studios. Man-Thing is a character from Marvel.
yeah, and Werewolf by Night, like issue like number 32 or whatever, is where Moon Knight comes from. That's the first appearance of Moon Knight ever. So Werewolf by Night's got a big, rich, part of Marvel history. He pops in and out throughout, and there's, Blade comes through there, and all those other like supernatural elemental, like Man-Thing, right? Man-Thing has his burning grips.
Yeah.
Like he grabs a dude and literally incinerates this guy, like melts him with his burning grip, and you see like the dude's flesh like melt away to bone and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, like on a Disney show, like it was brutal. It was really good though.
Well, so a lot of people don't know, like us, comic book historians and shit, most people don't know that horror and comic books go back a really, really long time. I mean, you got Tales from the Crypt, you got Tales of Suspense,
Eerie, Black Cat. I mean, all those in those old books. This in the books that Mark's talking about and I'm talking about predate the Comic Code Authority. So these books back then, there's literally a comic book with a dude that's like hanging himself, or there's one where this dude shoots himself and it's like his whole face is blowing off. Like these are like 40s, like 1940s comics that kids were reading. Like these were horror books, back then. And these were, they got so bad that they had to create a comic authority to come in and regulate comic books, which is why they turned into magazines. They had horror magazines, which still showed that stuff. But the comic book aspect of it had to change because of that, which is where you ended up not getting certain things. You couldn't have like zombies and certain things in comic books ever since because of those old horror books. But yeah, they go hand in hand. I mean, since movies,
comic books and horror have been, tracking, like you said, since like the 40s. Yeah. 40s, 50s when they were big.
Golden age of comics.
Yeah, back in the golden age of comics, you had like your Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde comics. You had your Draculas, your Frankensteins, your Swamp Things, all that stuff.
Tales of Suspense. I mean, even Marvel. Marvel started out as a horror magazine.
Yeah. Well, you even think about like even Detective Comics. There were times when like early on Batman was fighting, monsters and shit in Detective Comics. Back in the 30s.
Yeah. So it's always been there. So it was really cool to see this Werewolf by Night following that old horror, like old Universal 1930s monsters style. It was really good. I 100% absolutely recommend to go watch that. It was really good.
Cool. Another movie that I watched while I was on the cruise was a movie that I'd actually never even heard of. It just kind of popped up on the on-demand thing, and Shelby and I ended up watching it together. It's this movie called 5 Feet Apart. And essentially it's just about a young lady who has cystic fibrosis.
Is this the one where he goes through the ice? She goes through the ice at the end?
Yeah, she goes through the ice.
Oh my god, dude.
She goes through the ice.
That's such a good movie.
Both have cystic fibrosis and they fall in love in the hospital. And the thing about cystic fibrosis is if you get other people's bacteria, other people that have cystic fibrosis, to get their bacteria and it can be fatal.
That's
so if you cross like bacteria and stuff like that, it can be bad. It's really, really bad. So
was that the one that had the girl from American Teenager or something like that, and Logan Lerman or something?
I have no idea. This was like the first time that I had actually seen either of these two actors. Her name is Haley Lou Richardson.
Okay, yeah.
And his name was Cole Sprouse.
Oh yeah. Cole. That's the Sprouse brother from Big Daddy, the Adam Sandler movie. That's one of the twins.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So really great movie, actually. I thought it was very well acted. Think it was very well written too.
Yeah, that girl,
Obviously, super sad.
that girl from that 5 Feet Apart movie. Oh yeah, Jen liked that movie. Remember that one, Jen? 5 Feet Apart.
Yeah, I really liked it.
The one where they have the cystic fibrosis, they can't get next to each other. You cried. Yeah, you did. Anyway, yeah, that was a really good movie, and that girl, the main girl, she's in the White Lotus show.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, dude, the White Lotus is awesome. I keep trying to get Jen to
I
watch
haven't
it.
watched that one yet either.
It's good, dude. It's got Jennifer Coolidge, which is Stifler's mom,
Yeah.
right? It's got Connie Britton, Alexandra Dadrio's in it. Who's the other guy? Sydney Sweeney is in it. Which are Sydney Sweeney and Alexandra Dadrio are like two of my hall passes. Steve Zahn's in it. Like, dude, it's really, really good. You need to check out The White Lotus. It's really good writing. It's funny. It's dramatic. I mean, it's just a fucking awesome show. I think it just won like a shitload of awards too. So that's another one. Like, you got to watch that, man. I think that one's on HBO.
Yeah.
It's not very long. I think it's only a few episodes, like 6 episodes or something, but it may be 10 episodes. I don't remember, but damn, it was good. I watched Halloween Ends, the new Halloween movie.
Right. Yeah, so what did you think about that?
Did you watch it?
No.
Well, I mean, as Jen says, I like everything. So, I thought it was good. There's aspects of it I think could have been different. I think they knew that this was going to piss off the fans because it wasn't a typical Halloween movie. It actually followed, I believe, some of the other older Halloween movies where it was more of a like spiritual, supernatural, where like the being that keeps Michael Myers staying alive from being, he gets killed in every movie and comes back, like leaves his body and goes into another person. And that person becomes the new Michael Myers and stuff. So I think it kind of leans a little on like that idea of it, but I don't know.
A bit more into like you said, a bit more into the supernatural.
Yeah, I feel like if they were going to do that, they should have leaned heavily into that in the other movies to lead up to this, because the first two are just a brutal, just
slasher horror.
Yeah, and in this one, really just like the first two movies, Laurie Strode's like this badass, like she's got shotguns hidden under every desk and guns in every book, and then in this one, she's like making pies and shit, and it's weird. And it didn't feel like the true like finishing move for this trilogy that they were setting up. But the guy, it was Gordon Green, I believe is his name, that made this trilogy of these movies. He's actually moving on to The Exorcist now. He's going to do the same thing that he did for Halloween, where he's going to continue the series from the my back itches. Where he's going to continue from the first movie and then skip all the rest and just make another kind of trilogy from that first one, like years later. So
yeah, that would make sense, because The Exorcist, I mean the first Exorcist, classic fucking horror, classic
my all-time favorite
horror movie, and the other ones, they just kind of muddy things up a bit.
Yeah.
They just kind of muck around with like a little bit of, they'll go heavily into that supernatural thing and all this stuff, and they're really only they're only like spiritual successors to the original Exorcist.
Yeah.
They're not really like real true Exorcist fucking movies.
Yeah.
It just, because they can't replicate the kind of tone that the original film had, and even like the story and all that stuff.
And
they can't do it.
And I listened to the audiobook not too long ago of the original Exorcist, and it was brutal, just like that first movie. Like that first Exorcist movie to me today, being how old that movie is, still is like one of the creepiest, like scary movies to date. Like, because everyone keeps trying to do these supernatural scary movies, but none of them can top that original Exorcist. They're just not as good as that one. I mean, Insidious gets close, right, with its supernatural stuff, and Sinister gets close with some of its supernatural stuff, but it just doesn't have that quality level that Exorcist has. And Fox actually had a TV show out, an Exorcist TV show that continued. It had adult Reagan. It continued that story, which actually was really good, but the show got canceled in like 2020, which sucks because it was really good, and that actually maintained that level pretty well. So I was kind of disappointed in that. But yeah, Gordon Green is making a new Exorcist trilogy following that first one. So I'm hoping, it'll probably be Blumhouse. I'm pretty sure it's Blumhouse. So I'm hoping that they do it right.
Yeah.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell, Kerrigan.
Have you seen the trailer for that show, The Peripheral?
I saw an advertisement for it. I have not watched the trailer for it.
Okay, yeah, I saw, like, I don't know if there was like a full trailer for it, but I know I did see like some teasers for it.
It looked good, whatever I saw. It was only a few seconds.
Yeah. So it's a series up on Prime. I think it's actually out now.
Yeah, I think they were saying that that's the one that like took out the Rings of Power as their like most watched show already.
Yeah. So actually, it is based off of a novel by William Gibson called Agency. So, you've got the prestige there with William Gibson.
Yeah.
Well-regarded sci-fi author.
Okay.
And of course, it is headed by Chloe Grace Moretz.
She does really good.
This when she was a child. I mean, phenomenal actor.
She's been in so many different genres and styles. Like she's all over in it, man. She's done horror with the Let the Right One In. She's been in obviously Kick-Ass. Yeah, she's been in quite a few shows. So yeah, I want to see it. I saw it. It's on my list. I made a note of it to take a look at. I'll have to check it out. Interview with the Vampires out too on AMC. They've got a whole show based on that now. That's kind of
okay. Yeah,
they're ramping.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, they're ramping that up. As Walking Dead's coming down, AMC's going to need something else to keep its viewers and keep its app going. So.
Well, they still got. I mean, I know Walking Dead. They still have to release the last season, and then I think we talked about this too before.
The new one.
Didn't they have a couple spin-off miniseries that they were going to be doing? Yeah,
but I think they're going to need to. They're already like the channel you go to watch zombies. Like, they need to be bringing some fresh stuff in if they want to keep it going. So, I know Interview with the Vampire was a big get, the Anne Rice stuff with them. So,
yeah.
And from what I heard, the first episode was really good. So I'm hoping, because that first one was a pretty epic movie. And then, I mean, obviously like Queen of the Damned with Aaliyah and the soundtrack, right? All the Jonathan Davis and Drayman and all those guys. Like the soundtrack for Queen of the Dead is still today is like one of the most epic soundtracks.
Queen of the Damned, the soundtrack was incredible. Yeah, I mean, I think like Jonathan Davis he co-wrote a lot of the music on there, and then they went back and they had David Drayman and Wayne Static X re-record some of the songs for the soundtrack, but everything that was in the movie, I think, was performed by Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, and so in Aaliyah, because they were supposed to continue on. Aaliyah was actually supposed to be in more of that movie, and there was supposed to be a whole nother like movie after that.
I would have loved to have seen what they were going to do
Dude,
with
her
her
Queen
character.
of the Dead looked
And
fucking
she was
awesome.
she had a very interesting character, you know, being this, Egyptian queen, from fucking millennia ago,
Yeah.
being like one
Like,
of the most powerful vampires
the
in the
mother
world.
of vampires or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I wanted more of that lore, which they were going to go into, and then that tragedy happened, and we ended up. They're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Well, there's nobody that they could have recast
no.
for that character. I mean, she played it so well, and yeah, it just would have been hard to do.
They would have had to redo everything and just redo somebody else in it, which then people wouldn't have gone to see because they would have been like, oh, that's they wanted to go
it's
see
not Leah.
because of her. So,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the show does good, man, and I really want to get more into that lore because that's what Anne Rice wrote. I haven't read the books, but I've read synopsis of the universe that she's built, and it's a massive freaking universe of vampires, man, and going through.
Yeah.
So I really want to just find out more about that. Let's see. Oh, dude, hey, did you ever watch the first Terrifier with Art the Clown?
No.
One where he takes that hacksaw and he cuts that woman up. She's like upside down, naked, like her legs are like splayed up, and then the clown like ties her friend to a chair and makes her watch as the clown comes up to her friend and cuts her in half from groin to head.
I think that we had played like maybe a clip on like a previous.
I think we talked about part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we did talk about that. I
it's
don't know. The only thing that really turned me off about like Terrifier though was just like the cover, because I don't really care about fucking creepy clowns.
so Terrifier was good, man. It really is. It's like an indie horror movie. It takes it back to like the old school days. Like the clown's like a mime. He doesn't even talk. No words, nothing. He's just quiet, walks slowly, happens to always catch the girls as they're running. He still catches up to them. Like, right, it brings back that old school just horror feel. And then the violence level in it and how the practical effects and everything just were so, like when he's cutting that chick in half, you're just like, holy shit. Like you're like, it's like straight up like shows everything being disemboweled as he goes through. And it just was awesome.
Yeah.
There's no practical, like, that rusty little hacksaw would never cut through bone and all that stuff like that, right? We lost your camera.
I'm back. Hold on.
Okay. Anyway, right, so we know that
Yeah, there we go.
okay, that saw
Technical difficulties, folks.
that saw would never cut through bone, right? It just would never do
Right.
it. But
Right.
that's the magic of the movie, right? You're not supposed to think about that. Well, apparently part 2's out, and as the movie's out, they're literally handing people puke bags to go in, right? So it's one of those things where, that's part of like a stunt to get people, right, the news.
Yeah.
But people are legitimately like puking and passing out in this movie. It's so they one up that cutting the girl in half scene. So. I've met this guy. I've met the creators at Texas Frightmare. Like they're all real cool dudes. Like just sitting there talking, chilling. We're talking about it, and they're like, "Oh man, we always try to come up with the grossest, sickest thing we can do, and then figure out how to do it and make it look real."
Yeah.
Because that's the world they're in. They love doing just horror movies and horror stuff, and so yeah, it reminds me of other movies where they've had those incidences of people puking and passing out. You had Passion of the Christ, right? You had people passing out for that one when they're doing the whipping with the thorns, and you see like,
which if you pass out during the Passion of the Christ, then you're not a real Christian.
you see like chunks of his like skin and flesh coming, like being ripped off of him and stuff.
You fucking heathens.
You had Saving Private Ryan was another one where people were getting kind of like that shell shock PTSD that were there in real life.
Well, I mean, Well, I mean, just like the original Exorcist, people were walking out of that movie.
I was just about to say, Exorcist had the same thing. People were passing out and puking because of how gross and messed up that was. Like, there's a long history of that stuff happening in movies, all the way back to today. But yeah, I thought that was interesting and something to put on the notes there. That yeah, they're handing out puke bags for this movie. It's that gross,
Yeah,
but you know what it's
pretty
doing?
gory.
It's getting people into theaters. It's putting butts in seats to go see this movie that's making people pass out and cry.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, that's the name of the game
Yeah. Hey,
for those movies.
I always wear those like
Especially for horror movies, right? Because horror movies typically are low budget, and
Yep.
because really making blood and gore and stuff like that is not
little corn syrup, some
difficult to
dye.
do with practical effects
Yep.
and stuff like that. So, you know, those types of movies and those types of franchises, really need to be shown more love because of just the amount of creativity that they're able to do
Yeah, like
or use to do those things.
Tom Savini, he would go out and he'd invent these like knives where the handle would move to make it look like you were like sawing through people. And yeah, I mean, all these special effects people and those horror movies are, I mean, a lot of actors get their starts in cheesy horror movies.
Yeah.
Brett,
Cheesy horror and cheesy sci-fi is typically where
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of like actors really make their start.
I mean, Bradley Cooper,
especially Canada.
Yeah.
Canada's huge.
that's where Kevin Smith
Canada's,
goes
like,
to film all of
so
his
huge.
like Tusk and all that.
Yeah, Canada has a badass, science fiction production history. That's where a lot of Firefly was filmed.
Yeah.
Well, Canada sent Firefly to Serenity and all this, Stargate, all those things. Like we were talking about on a previous episode, Jason Momoa started out in Stargate Atlantis.
Yep, that and you had
early on.
You had those guys in like Xena and all those things.
Yeah, exactly. Lucy Lawless, Kevin Sorbo, Xena Warrior Princess, Hercules, and all that stuff. That
Carl
was all
Urban.
Canadian.
Carl Urban was on Xena, like
Yeah.
and then you had even like Bradley Cooper, right? Like a very A-list star now, right? Tuxedos, all that. His first major starring role was in Midnight Meat Train by Clive Barker with Vinnie Jones, right? I mean, it's a lot of these people get their starts there, and yeah, these movies are cheap. That look at Friday the 13th, look at Halloween. Those are not high budget movies at all.
No, not at all. And you can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell. You go back and you watch those first trilogies of those movie franchises, and you can tell they had fucking zero budget, but they were able to make up for that. I mean, and the acting wasn't that great either.
No.
But
That's where look at Friday the 13th, right? That's where Kevin Bacon, like that's one of his major roles, first starting roles. Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp's first role. I mean,
Johnny Depp.
I mean, these are all big characters that start in these low budget horror movies that turn into major franchises.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, not great acting performances by a lot of people, but just having an engaging bad guy and an engaging story and world, can make up for that.
Absolutely.
On a sharing budget like that.
And if you can't have that, then you get the gore files, and if you can't get the story, then you just put shitloads of blood into it. Look at
exactly.
What was it?
You get all those pig intestines and pig's blood and all that shit, and just cover your actors in that.
A movie called Dead Alive, right? Most people don't know this, but Peter Jackson started out making low budget horror movies. And Dead Alive has got one of the biggest blood bucket scenes ever. This dude picks up a lawnmower and he's carrying it through zombies, just mowing them down, and you're seeing the blood like filling up in the room. There's so much.
Okay, I remember that movie.
It's an old movie. It's got two names. Dead Alive I think is the American name. But like
the original title was Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But that's Peter Jackson, dude. Like Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson. Like that's what he did before then. I mean, that's where these guys all start. A lot of these guys start out making these types of movies. So, love your horror movies, people. Love them. I've only got
exactly. Show them horror movies some more love, because you never know, that movie director or those actors in that movie might be able to move on to bigger, more popular, huge property franchises.
That movie you were in, was that horror or sci-fi? That film project you were in.
Oh right. Yeah, that short was sci-fi.
That was a sci-fi, right? Yeah. So I mean, I've got a buddy that he was just in this like indie little homemade horror movie. Fuck, I can't remember the name of it. He's gonna beat me. But I go to these. We call him Frank Castle. That's not really his name, but we just call him Frank Castle for some reason. That's his Facebook name, Frank Castle. But he was in this movie where he's like a big bodybuilder guy, and he was inside a costume, like a teddy bear costume, running around like murdering people. So yeah. Speaking of monsters and horror and stuff, you know how I always wear the famous monsters shirts, right? I'm always wearing, like, that's all I wear is monster shirts. Well, that company went out of business in like 2020, right? They wrapped up. The owner had some health issues. Guess who just bought that company and has now reopened it? You can go to the website, Captain Company, and get new Famous Monster stuff. Not Rob Zombie. It is a musician. It's a musician who loves horror, but it's not Rob Zombie. That would probably be everyone's first guess.
That's a hard one.
Corey Taylor bought the whole company and has relaunched it. So now, right?
All right.
Yeah. So now Corey Taylor owns Famous Monsters, and they just relaunched it this month. Like I said, you can go to Captain Company's website, which is the website for Famous Monsters, and they have exclusive relaunch shirts, like monster shirts, glow in the dark shirts and stuff. I thought about ordering one because my Famous Monster shirts, some of those are really rare, like my Hellraiser one. They're worth money. These horror shirts like this usually are. So I thought about ordering one of those exclusive new relaunch shirts. Should be CaptainCompany.com. Or you can just type in Famous Monsters of Filmland and you'll probably see the Captain Company. As you look that up, I'll tell you who doesn't want to play ball with Disney anymore. Did you see Tim Burton said he's really not interested in doing any more Disney projects again?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he put out a quote saying that Disney's like just a giant big circus now. He's like, it's not the same as when he was there and when he was working on projects for them. He doesn't have any fun with it anymore, dealing with them. So he's done with Disney.
I'm just saying, you just type in famousmonsters.com and it takes you to Famous Monsters of Filmland website.
Okay. Does it redirect to Captain Company? Is that what it did?
No.
Oh, they must be connected. Okay.
It's famousmonsters.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's got a picture of Corey Taylor on there too, from their Instagram there.
Okay.
So it's the same one, Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Nice. What? He probably changed the site back to that then, because it used to redirect to the Captain Company site, which was the store. That was the website for the store.
Yeah.
But yeah, he bought all of that from a buddy of ours.
Okay, yeah, it does. Okay, so shop.famousmonsters.com up at the top shows Captain Company logo.
Okay.
But it's not CaptainCompany.com. It's just shop.famousmonsters.com.
Okay.
So you might have been able to purchase the famousmonsters.com domain or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right then, because it used to direct you to that Captain Company, which was the selling site of where you'd be able to buy the shirts and stuff. And so
it still shows the Captain Company logo on the top left on the website.
So he probably bought all of that from Phil. So Phil used to own it, and we've met him. They used to have a Famous Monsters Comic-Con, like its own, not Comic-Con, but a Famous Monster Con, where they had the creature from the Black Lagoon, they had Doug Bradley from Hellraiser, like all these big famous monster people, man, and horror movie actors. Big show. So I'm really hoping that he gets with what's his face, the singer of Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name.
Shit, I can't think of his name. So Corey last year came to the Texas Frightmare show. He was there, right? Because again, he's a big horror guy, big movie horror guy. So he went to the Texas Frightmare show. This year, that's coming up in a couple of months, is going to have the lead singer of Ice Nine, Spencer. There you go, that's his name. Spencer's going to be there, and Spencer actually just had his own Ice Nine Kills horror con
up in Massachusetts. Yeah.
So
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, I regret not being able to go to that, man. I really want to go. If they do another one, dude, we need to set up and go to that, because you go to the horror show. They have all the actors and all this cool stuff. That that's where you'd be able to go network and get some shit done, and then they have like a private concert and stuff. But I really hope.
I don't really get into their music, to be honest with you.
Oh, man, I love it. Especially these last two albums they had, because each song's based on a movie, which is pretty cool. But what would be cool is if these two get together, since they're such big horror people and music people, and we get like a horror convention together, right? Bring it.
But throw Rob Zombie in there too.
Oh yeah, well, because we know Rob Zombie loves it. So
yeah,
man, I'm hoping that we get some wheels are playing and we get some really cool announcements for the next year or so, because that would be fucking awesome. Get some metal, get some horror. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Scorn is out on Game Pass now.
All right.
Right.
Yeah. I've been body horror.
Oh, dude, I've been playing it. It's some gross shit in that one.
It's survival, right? It's a survival.
It throws you in. There's no menus. There's nothing telling you what to do. You literally wake up.
Yeah. So you just got to figure it out.
And you literally just have to figure out what to do. Nothing tells you what to do at all. And George R.R. Martin's got a new book coming. It's not The Winds of Winter, which is what everyone wants, which is the new Game of Thrones book.
It's the book, the Game of Thrones book that everybody's been waiting on.
What he's got coming out is called Rise of the Dragon, which is I believe what he did is he took the book that the House of the Dragon is based off of, and he kind of redid that a little bit. So
okay,
we are never going to see the end of this fucking series because he doesn't know how to end it. I think that's the problem. He's got so many he's working on video games, and now this House of the Dragon. He's working on the Jon Snow show that's coming out. He's got all these other things that I don't know if he's got time to write these massive novels anymore. And he's got the Game of Thrones series is supposed to have like 2 or 3 more books in it. So I don't know, man. We may never see those. But hey,
well, I mean, at some point he's got to kind of like take the hands off of that type of stuff and focus on actually writing.
Yeah. I hope, man, because he doesn't look like a super healthy dude. So I'm hoping that he can finish his shit, and get it going, because you don't want to leave a legacy behind and not finish it, and then that sucks.
True.
But that's all I got, man. There's so many more stories, but I didn't have time to get them up. There's so many more. Blink 182's coming back, right? Like they announced that last week.
Well, their last album didn't do that well.
Well, it's it's all the original guys coming back, and they're going on tour again.
Okay.
So it's been a long time since they've had that happen.
True, yeah.
and they're going with like Offspring and all these other big things. So I'm not the biggest Blink-182 fan, but I will fucking for sure would go to see Offspring.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as they could play some old school from Smash album.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of news. I haven't had a chance to catch up on it, so we'll have to do that next week.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do that next week. Hopefully Keith will be back.
Yeah. Oh fuck, I won't be here. I'll be in San Antonio at a Comic-Con, so maybe I'll go over to Keith's house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, take a laptop with you, or go over to Keith's house.
Well, I fly back Sunday, so I don't know.
Well, you can do it Sunday afternoon, like we did today.
I think I come back in the afternoon, but if not, we can do it Monday. You're off Monday, so we can do it maybe Monday after work. Yeah. That would probably be easier to do it Monday after work. So we'll figure that out. Anyway, you don't need to hear. Welcome to Calendar Chat, where we plan what we're doing for the week.
For the rest of the month.
Yeah. So you got it.
Which is almost over.
You got anything else?
No, that was it. That's all I had.
All right. Happy Halloween, fuckers.
Happy Halloween.
I'm Nick Zilla.
I'm Mark Becker.
And this is Pop Culture Kick.
You stay classy, Internet.
Yes. Whale's vagina.
What is the most unattractive male first name in the English language?
What you just said, Keith, is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Most of all, fuck you!
That's all, folks.